Hey everybody, welcome to Pack 1 Pick 1 number 213 on the Mana Leek. I'm John as always, and we have more packs of Throne of Eldraine, as we will for another month and a half or so, until of course Theros comes out. We're going to open this pack and we're going to see what's in it and see what we would take Pack 1 Pick 1 if this was a draft. Now each week these packs do go to a patron over at patreon.com/themanaleak at the $5 level or above, and this week it's going to Michael L. So they can choose all the cards, none of the cards, some of the cards, whatever they happen to want out of this pack. Starting off, we have Didn't Say Please. Didn't Say Please is 1 blue for an instant counter target spell. Its controller mills 3. Obviously a solid card if you are in the mill deck, and even in a control deck, this is not too bad. This is the best cancel has ever been, and it's not because of the card, it's mildly because of the card. It's because of the set. It's ever so slightly slower at times. It can definitely be aggro, but cancel's just been fine in this set. Of course, it's not a first pick. Up next is Weaselback Redcap. Weaselback Redcap is a single red for a creature Goblin Knight. It's a 1/1. You can pay 1 and a red to give it +2/+0 until end of turn. Solid card. It trades up really well is the trick. You start the game with it, you put it on turn 1, you get in for 1 damage, maybe 3 damage, maybe even you get in for like 5 damage once. And then you just hold back and your opponent doesn't attack into it, because if you've got 4 mana up, it can trade with most things in the format. That said, not a first pick. Up next is Prized Griffin. Prized Griffin is 4 and a white for a creature Griffin, and it's a 3/4 flyer. It's fine. If you're white, if you need a top end, if you need a way of getting through some damage, it's okay, but it's not a first pick. Up next is Mantle of Tides. Mantle of Tides is a single blue mana for an artifact equipped creature gets +1/+2. Whenever you would draw your second card for the turn, you can auto-equip this to a creature, and you can equip it for 3 generic mana otherwise. I don't really like this. Even in the draw 2 deck, I'm not a big fan of this. There's better payoffs than this. If you need a spot, you can put it in. In the blue-white artifact decks, I guess this is an artifact, but there are just better choices, so I don't really want to play it. And not really a first pick. Up next is Forever Young. Forever Young is 1 and a black for a sorcery. Put any number of target creature cards from your graveyard on top of your library and then draw a card. Obviously, it's against the mill decks, pretty decent, and otherwise just a little bit of graveyard recursion is always fine. That said, it's not a first pick. Up next is Garen Brigg Carver. Garen Brigg Carver is 3 and a green for a creature human warrior. It's a 3/2 vanilla, but you do have, this is a name I don't know. Shield's Might is the adventure. Shield's Might is 1 and a green for an instant adventure. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Fine card. It's one of my lesser favorites. I preferred, the Tree Folk to get counters on things, but this is okay if you're in the adventure deck or if you just want a dumb little creature, but I wouldn't go out of my way to get it, and never a first pick. This is a potential first pick. Fierce Witchstalker, the best card we've seen so far. 2 green for a creature wolf. It's a 4/4 trample, and when it ETBs, you put a food, or you create a food token. Solid card, solid stats, passes the vanilla test. It's got trample and an ETB effect. It's just a solid card. This could be the first pick. From what we've seen so far, it is the first pick. Up next is Prophet of the Peak. Prophet of the Peak is 6 generic mana for an artifact creature cat. I didn't know cats have antlers. It's a 5/5, and when it ETBs, you scry 2. Not a big fan of this. This is kind of the, I didn't get a way to get any damage through, I didn't get a big creature kind of emergency plan. But generally, you should not be playing this, and certainly not a first pick. Up next is Wicked Guardian. Wicked Guardian is 3 and a black for a 4/2 creature human noble. When Wicked Guardian enters the battlefield, you may have it deal 2 damage to another creature you control. If you do, draw a card. It's okay. It's not great. I don't typically like 4/2s for 4. At least this one maybe draws me the card, potentially at the sacrifice of another creature, but hopefully not. But it's just been There's been so many better black cards that you can play in most decks that I don't tend to play Wicked Guardians, but certainly not a first pick regardless. No foil in this pack as we get our 10th common, Gingerbread Cabin. Gingerbread Cabin is a land forest. You may tap it for a green because it's a forest. It enters the battlefield tapped, though, if you don't have 3 other forests. But if you do, and it does enter untapped, you get a food. If you're in mono green, this is free. Play it. Absolutely play it. There's no reason not to. If you are not mono green, if you are not heavy green, don't bother. It's going to come in tapped too often. It's going to hurt your mana base, and getting that one singular food probably isn't going to be that good. Regardless, not a first pick. Up next is Marrowleaf Pixie. Marrowleaf Pixie is green-blue for a creature fairy. It's 2/2 flyer. Tap it to add green or blue. This card should be great. I think green-blue might just not have enough of an identity. I don't know that I've ever played green-blue, to be honest, and this card has never really pulled me into that color combination, which is wild because I love 2/2 flyers for 2. I love mana dorks for 2. I love everything about this card. I guess except for the color combination in this format, I wouldn't even really consider this a first pick, especially not against the Fierce Witch Stalker, but I guess it's one of the best cards we've seen so far, so we'll keep it in the frame. Up next is a fancy Shepherd of the Flock. Shepherd of the Flock is 1 and a white for a creature human peasant. It's a 3/1 vanilla, so it's a blade. Or you have Usher to Safety? Usher to Safety, an instant adventure. Return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. Totally solid card. I love 3/1s for 2, and I love them if they have a little bit of extra value on them, like this adventure here. It's only bouncing your thing, so it's not like a premium bounce spell, but it can still be used in a pinch to do some ETB shenanigans, save a creature, etc. Plus, it's a really beautiful bit of art there. Yeah, I would consider this a potential first pick against what we've seen so far. This is a bit of a weak pack, so we can keep it in frame. Our next uncommon, our last uncommon is an Arcanist's Owl. White, blue, white, blue, white, blue, white, or blue. For an artifact creature bird, it's a 3/3 flyer, and when it enters the battlefield, you look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact or enchantment from among them, put it into your hand, and then put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. Love this card. I've played this card a lot because I've played a lot of mono blue in this set, and in mono white, this is also very good. And of course, if you're in blue white, it's also pretty darn good. Getting any artifact or enchantment, ideally your white removal off of this, maybe just another Arcanist's Owl, is some real value. I actually really like Arcanist's Owl. I wouldn't hate first picking it. I think it could be in the discussion in this pack here. These cards are not as restrictive as you think they are to cast. Obviously, if you're in a 9/8 blue-black deck, don't play this. But the way that ideal Eldraine decks come together, where you're actually like 12 blue and 5 black or something, you can still play this card and it's still fine. So much so that I'd consider first picking it in this relatively weak pack. Let's hope the rare makes it an easy decision. The rare does not really make it an easy decision. Sundering Stroke is 6 and a red for a sorcery. It deals 7 damage divided as you choose amongst 1, 2, or 3 targets. If at least 7 red mana was paid, you can instead deal 7 to all of those targets. This is expensive. This is very expensive, but it is a finisher, and so I think it probably is the pick. We have a rat. Look at that rat token and a swamp in behind. Yeah, it's expensive, but it is a finisher. It basically means that your opponent is starting at 13 life. You have to get to 7 mana, which, you know, that is kind of the border of it's probably going to happen, and you know, the other side of that border being it won't always happen. But yeah, it's probably a finisher enough that I think I would first pick it here. But I think it is actually a little bit closer. The trick, of course, being that a lot of red decks would want to be aggressive. They would not want a 7-drop in their deck. They might want to play 16 lands, making it even less likely to get to that 7 mana. So Sundering Stroke is in a slightly weird place in how much it costs and the deck that it kind of wants to be in, but I think I still would first pick it. Were it not here, I think we have an interesting discussion. And I think I might just take the Shepherd. Yes, it's fancy and I would want it because it's fancy, but it's also just a good card. But I'm very curious to know what you would think because I could see an argument for any of these cards. My guess is that Sundering Stroke would just be your pick, but which of these 4 would be? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me over on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch. You can find me at patreon.com/themanaleak, where if you do become a $5 backer or above, you get the cards each week if your name is drawn, or none of the cards, some of the cards, all the cards, whatever you happen to want. You can use the promo code MANALEAK10, all one word, 10 is the number, over at inkedgaming.com to get 10% off your order and help the channel out that way. And of course, the easiest way is to like, share, and subscribe. If you do have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know though. Otherwise, I'll see y'all next time.